In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a project that we're going to be doing. And what we're doing is we're creating a little badge for a softball helmet. And this was the artwork that was provided to us by our customer. And they wanted the badge to be about 4.5 inches wide, but it needs to be kind of sort of thin so that they can heat it up and mold it to the shape of the softball helmet. And this is pretty straightforward. Of course, we've been doing this for quite a while with koozies and things like that. So this is a pretty straightforward project. Now, most of our 3D modeling projects start off here in chat. Okay, and what we've done is we've kind of developed this workflow that works really well for us, and so we just kind of follow a recipe of what works. All right, so our 3D modeling projects start here in chat because usually our artwork can be improved in one way or another. And so what we need to do is we need to take this artwork and we need it to turn it into a vector format. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. It's good artwork to start with. And so you can see here, I said, okay, chat, can you clean up this image a little bit for me and get it ready for 3D printing and vinyl cutting? I asked chat to do this with every image that is given to me, good or bad. All right, and so this is chat's version of an already good piece of artwork, which is almost looks identical. But then I say, okay, this looks good, but now I need you to take all of the gold in this image and make it white, and then I need you to take all of the blue in this image and make it black. Now I don't want to ask chat to make it black and white. I want to give very specific instructions of what I expect. Now, why am I doing this? Well, we're going to see why here in a moment. But the key rule of thumb is the image black and white or is it color? Well, in this case, it's color, right? So then the next question is the color of the image. Is it completely bordered by another color or is it not? Because if there's color in the image that's not completely covered by a or bordered by another color, then we would have to use a different process to vectorize the color image. But in this case, the gold, as you can see, the gold is completely surrounded by blue, and so therefore we could just turn it to black and white, which is our preferred thing to do anyhow. So this is the black and white version of our logo. Okay, and the reason that we want to use black and white is because Inkscape does a really good job of converting black and white images to a vector file. It does a really lousy job of converting color images to a vector file. So that's why we use this process. So let's go ahead and right click and copy our image. And then we're going to come here into Inkscape and we're just going to paste our image, right click and paste. And then we will right click again and choose trace bitmap. And then we can hit apply. And then now we have our vector version of our file. Okay, now obviously we can't use it in this particular format, so we have to take it another step. And so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the tools that I created to make my whole design process much more smoothly. And so we have our automation toolkit here. Um, Now, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to select our vector file and we're going to right click on this, which is break apart. Okay, and then we're going to come in here and just select this and give it a color. It doesn't really matter what color we give it right now. So you can see this is all just solid. So we are going to right click here and send it to the back. Okay, now this piece right here, we're going to actually cut through, shift click the pink piece and we'll trim that. So now we have a hole. And then this piece here, we're going to do the same thing. Now we have a hole there. Okay, so this is getting back to what our original artwork actually looked like. Here, same thing. We can go ahead and trim that off, just a little piece there. Now, if I go into wireframe mode here, we could just click our little display here. I have this piece right here, this very inside piece of our A, and then we're going to shift click again here, and we will use that difference. And this piece here, that's just a little speck. We don't even need that. And then over here on the E, we'll do the same thing. Okay, and we'll trim that out. Okay, and so back to regular mode, we'll click on our display. And so now you can kind of see that's what we have now. Now, it doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but if we select everything, then we come in here and shift select our pink, and then we go ahead and hit combine. Now you see we do actually have exactly what we needed, but I kind of forgot about my text here. I need that text to be separate from the rest of it. Actually, I don't, because it's all gold, so it doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and make it gold, and then let's make this a blue. And so now you can kind of see that's where we were at, right? So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and everything like there is good to go, but what I do want to do is go ahead and resize this. So they were looking for a badge that was about 4.5 inches. So we will resize this to 112 because that is roughly 4.5 inches. Okay. So now that we have that, now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and group it together. Let's look at our layers palette. So you see here we have a group. Now what is this path here? Don't know what that path is. Let's turn it on here. Well, we don't need that. So we have a group, and we're gonna duplicate our group. So we're gonna right click and choose duplicate, and then on the lower one, let's give it a white fill, and then we're gonna apply an offset. Okay, because we want this badge to sit on what we call a back plate. In this case, it's going to be white. I suspect the softball helmets are probably either gold or blue, and that's why we want this on a white, a total white back plate. So we'll come over here to offset here, and let's just go ahead. Let's try 1.5. Based on my experience, that's probably pretty good, but let's just see what happens here. Uh, I mean, I don't hate it. Okay, I don't hate it. But what if we just back that off to 1? Let's just back it off to 1. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll back up here, and then we'll add 1. There we go. Okay, yes, I like this better. So now what we're going to do, you see all these little openings everywhere, and there's that weird little thing there. Don't worry about that too much. What we're going to do is we're going to right click and ungroup, and then let's go ahead and let's do path, and we're going to choose object to path. Okay. Um, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and bring those together. So we're going to go ahead and union those together, and then we're going to break it apart. So go ahead and right click here to break it apart. And you see all those white little bits that we had? Those all kind of go away. So we'll bring those back together again. And then the only thing we have to fix is this little spike here. And we just double click on it, hit delete, and we can grab that and just make that kind of like that. We can double click to add a node, maybe delete that one, and then that just kind of smooths things off a little bit there. So now we have all of our bits and pieces that we need for our little badge. So the next thing we're going to do is take our group, and let's go ahead and ungroup it. So now we just have 3 pieces. This is really a simple little design here. So for what we're going to do, it's going to be really straightforward. So here's what we're going to do here. For our first part here, let's go ahead and let's do a white back plate, and let's extrude it. Let's go. I'm just trying to think here real quick. Let's go ahead and do 1.5 millimeters. I think that'll be fine. And for the Z height, it's always half. So 1.5, half of 1.5 is 0.75. And then we'll go ahead and hit apply. And then this next piece right here, okay, this next piece here, that can be for our extrusion. Let's see, what do we want to do here? Let's go ahead and call it blue. And then for the extrusion height here, we're going to do something a little bit different. The first one was 1.5, so this one we're going to do 1.75. Okay, so it's just going to be a little bit more. And then for our Z height on this um, is going to be half of that. Okay, so it's always, your Z height is always half of your thickness in this particular example. So we are going to do 0.875, which is 7/8 of an inch. But so it's half of 1.75, okay? And then finally for the gold. Now, what are we going to do about the gold? The gold, I probably will go ahead and do that a little bit differently. So for our gold, what do we want for the extrusion height for our gold? Well, let's go ahead and do 1. And then for the Z height here, let's go ahead and do 1 as well. And I just want to show you what happens here. So let's go ahead and hit apply. Okay, so now we are done. We are done with the artwork portion of our project. So let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's do STL3D Garner Ellite. Okay. Okay. So now all of our artwork is done, and now we are ready to see the fruits of our labor here. So let's go ahead and generate our 3D model. It'll go ahead and open it up in Bamboo. Okay, so there is our 3D model. Now, I did this kind of deliberately just to show you how easy it is to fix, quote unquote, fix things here. So that first white is 1.5, and then the blue, remember we made it 1.75, but everything is sitting on the build plate. Now the gold here, you see the gold? We want to we can't see the gold. It's supposed to be sitting on top of this other text here. So let's go ahead and we'll just go to the Objects tab and grab our gold piece. And we know we have to move this in the Z. So let's go ahead and set this at 1.5. And that's it. So now this is sitting exactly 1/4 of a millimeter proud of the other color there, which is also sitting 1/4 of a millimeter proud of this object there. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. Now, is this going to slice? That's the next big question. So let's go ahead and I tell you what, let's go ahead and select our assembly. Let's look at how big this is. So it's grown to 1/16, which isn't bad. It's just a few millimeters bigger than 4.5. So this is what she asked for. So let's go ahead and slice it and see what we get. If it looks good in our slicer, then if our printer is functioning correctly, then we're going to get a nice print. If it does not look good in our slicer, then we definitely will not get a nice print. So do not print it because it won't look good just randomly. So yes, so there we go. I absolutely love that. You can see it looks really nice. Now there are some key settings here that we're using that helps us with our final product here. If we go to the global tab here, you'll see that I have this special cap plates profile that I created, and it's really not that special. But if we look here on the quality tab, the main things that you might want to change if you want a similar look is when you're dealing with what I would call a relatively small design and you want nice sharp details, right here. Outer wall 0.25, inner wall 0.25, and the top surface 0.25. Those are the main 3 settings to get a really nice print out of this. I think you're going to find that that's going to print really nice. The other thing we might sometimes do is sometimes we do reduce our wall loops, and also let's look at the quality tab here because maybe we changed our wall generator. I don't think we did on these. But sometimes, yeah, we did actually. It's the Arachne wall generator. Sometimes Arachne looks better, and then sometimes Classic looks better. Those are the only 2 options there. But there you go. That is the finished product there. So you can see it's really quite painless, but that's how it all works, folks. So I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully it spurred your interest enough to learn more about how to go about utilizing this workflow that we use to create our 3D models, because um, I really feel like it is a very uh, duplicatable process, and the results are great, and it's not very time consuming or complicated to learn. All right, so thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll see you. If you have any questions or need one-on-one training or some custom files made for you, this is my contact information, so feel free to reach out via email. You can text me. You could even give me a call. I'd be happy to answer questions or give you more details on the one-on-one training we offer, and as well as if you need custom files made until you are up to speed on how to make them yourself, feel free to reach out and we'd be happy to help you with that as well.